For yoga poses, you need strong arms, strong legs. And to get strong hands, there are different things that we need to do to work the fingers and to create a little bit more strength and flexibility in the wrists. Let's get started. I've been asked several times to do something for fiddle players or people that play violin. A lot of times, the hand position that they're in causes some difficulty in their playing. So, whether you play a violin, fiddle, or no instrument at all, we'll be applying different hand positions in yoga poses that you know well. The first hand position we'll do is in a lunge pose where you'll take your hands almost like a spider position, a spider on glass maybe, or a spider on the wall. You're pressing the fingertips very firmly and just kind of notice what arm feels like it's working more than the other. So with that hand position, come to the front of your mat and press your hands very fully. Draw your heart toward your hands as you press the fingertip tops. Draw your heart forward. Take your gaze slightly up to open the heart nicely and step your right foot back. Come to a high lunge. First, get a sense of balance for yourself as you continue to press and twist and take your right elbow toward your outer leg and come back. Then just release your hands for a moment so that you don't overwork your fingers. And inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, place your hands for number two. Press your hands in that spider position. Twist as you take your right elbow down toward your knee and rise up, release your hands to give your fingers a rest. Sweep your arms up. And third time, bend your elbows, press your fingertips and twist. Inhale, free your hands and lift your arms up. And step your back foot forward and pause for a moment in Tadasana with your feet parallel. Take your hands in that spider position, kind of like prayer. Step your left foot back. Once you get your balance and steadiness, draw the front thigh down. Take your left elbow to the knee and rise up. Just a simple twist. Release your hands down. Inhale, take the arms up. Spread your fingers as you open your chest. Exhale, place the hands again in this prayer position, but with only the fingertip tops pressing. Come to a twisting action and lift yourself up. Release your hands down. Once again, swing your arms up to open your chest. Free your fingers from that position and release your hands back to the prayer position with only the fingertip tops pressing. Come to a twisting action and lift up. Release your hands and take your arms up and step your back foot forward. Release your hands down. For our next pose, we'll take the hands. Remember when you used to do like shadows and when you're camping? And this kind of reminded me of like a duck head. So as you place your hands in kind of this flat position and you make a fist. Again, one more time, you make a fist. All right. So now that you've got the idea of that, start with the duck heads looking at each other. Make a fist. Draw your elbows away from each other. Have your fist draw in toward your head. Now reach your arms out with a fist still reaching in toward your head. And release your hands. Good. You've got the idea. Now let's do that in Virabhadrasana number 2, warrior pose number 2. So step your feet wide. Turn your right toes out and bend your right knee. Take your arms forward. And once again, with your hands looking at each other, these duck heads, uh, press your fingers together. Make a fist. Draw your elbows wide. Draw your fists in toward your head, like Popeye arms. From there, reach your arms out. Have the fists draw in toward your head. Now take your gaze out over your right fist. Drop your front thigh down a little bit more fully. Inhale, bend your elbows toward each other and release your hands. Turn your right toes in, turn your left toes out, bend your front knee. Take your arms up, elbows pretty much in line with your shoulders. Draw your hands down toward each other. Make a fist. Draw the elbows wide with the fist drawing in toward your head. Straighten your arms. Reach your arms out, but draw your fists in. Now look over toward your left fist. In the fullness of this pose, just draw yourself down just a little bit more. Inhale, draw your elbows in toward each other and release your hands. Now step your feet hip distance apart. Maybe your hands are getting slightly fatigued, so you can shake them out a bit. The next hand position is really simple. Let me get a little closer to you so that you can see the thumb is going to touch the base of the pinky finger and come back. Thumb touches that and come back. Easy movement, right? Thumb touches and back. Let's do that in a pose. So as you come to step wide on your mat, turn your right toes out again, bend your knee, take your forearm down to the top of the thigh, look down toward your spread palm. Now draw your thumb toward the base of your pinky finger and reach it out. Again, thumb to the base of the pinky finger and out. One more time, thumb to the base of the pinky finger and out. Now take your left arm up to the sky, spread your fingers, and in the same way that we just did with the right hand, take your thumb to the base of the pinky finger on the left hand and spread it out. And two more times. Thumb draws in and out. One more. Thumb draws in and out. Lift yourself all the way up out of the pose. Release your hands. Turn your right toes parallel to the short edge of the mat. The left toes out. Bend your knee. Take your forearm down to the top of the thigh. Spread the fingers of your left hand. And in the same way, just to keep the arm engaged and do some hand work, press the thumb to the pinky finger and back. And again, thumb moves back. And again, thumb draws toward the finger and back. Reach your right arm up. And in the same way, with the finger starting in the spread position, take the thumb to the finger and back, and finger and back. Sometimes the joint gets quite stiff. So when you do this action, It creates a little bit more strength in the muscles surrounding the joint. Lift yourself out of the pose and release your hands down. Step your feet hip distance apart. Take your hands in a prayer position. This time, unlike the spider position that we were in when we were doing prayer before, we're going to press the base of the thumbs very firmly down and turn the hand toward the floor. So as you come to this position at the front of your mat, step your right leg back and balance yourself here with two straight legs. Just draw your weight back toward the back foot first. Lift your gaze up to the sky. Now exhale. Keep the fingers pointing down as you draw your heart slightly forward. Not so much down, but you're trying to reach it forward, keeping this nice hand position. Inhale, lift yourself up, and exhale, release your hands. Step your back foot forward. And again, shake out your hands if you feel like you need a little break. Place your hands, when you're ready, in front of your heart. Draw the hands down in this prayer pose and step your left foot back. Balance yourself first, two straight legs with the back heel pressing. Just open the chest nicely, open your heart nicely. Keep pressing the hands toward each other and draw forward. Draw the heart forward, not necessarily too far down. You're just feeling a nice stretch in the back leg while you keep your hands very much engaged in this position. Inhale, root down to lift yourself up, and exhale, release your hands. Now let's take the hands in the opposite direction. So it's like the back of the hands are in this prayer position, just to give the hands a little bit more freedom. So come to the front of the mat, step your right leg back. With the backs of the hands pressing, lift your heart toward the sky. Exhale, keep the back heel pressing as you draw down. So you're able to do this work on your fingers and hands and wrists while getting a nice stretch to your hamstrings. You rise up, release your hands, and step your back foot forward. Again, just give your hands a rest if they need it right now. But as you're ready, step your left foot back. Once the backs of the hands are in this reverse prayer pose, lean back to the back leg. So you really root down strongly with the back heel before coming forward and slightly down. And just kind of wake up the back side of the leg there. Inhale, lift yourself up out of the pose and release the hands. We'll do one more hand movement in a pose that you know, Uttita Trikonasana or triangle pose. So here's the pose. You'll spread your fingers. Now the thumb, instead of going wide, the thumb is going to go forward, right? So thumb forward as opposed to thumb wide. Thumb forward versus thumb wide. Okay, so thumb is forward. The slightly different movement again to work the muscles that really support that joint. Step wide on your mat. Place your hands right to your hip points as you turn your right toes out. Inhale, take your arms up, spread your fingers so that you engage the arms so fully. Take your right hand down. Now, once you have your right hand established somewhere, spread the fingers of the left hand even more. Now, draw the thumb forward and back and again, forward and back and forward and back. Root down through the back leg to inhale and rise up. Exhale, release your hands. Let's come to the opposite side. So line up and look at the lineup of the front heel to the back arch. Inhale, lift your arms up, spread your fingers, come down to where it feels comfortable on this side. We're really attuning to the lifted arm today. So as you take your thumb forward and back on the lifted arm, and forward and back and forward and back. Root down to lift yourself all the way up. Exhale, release your hands. Let's come to a seated position. So as you come to a seated position, take your hands in that spider-like position. So your fingers are spread, and press your hands down just alongside or maybe slightly in back of your pelvis here. As you press all the fingertips down, see how that gives you length as you take the heads of the arm bones back. You open your throat nicely. And now release your hands for a moment, because chances are that was a little bit of pressure on your hands, and just relax your hands for a moment before doing that again. Press the fingertip tops. So I've got the fingers pointing away from the body, away from the toes. As I press the thumb and fingertips down, you have this nice opening and feeling of length, even as you use the strength of the legs to establish a strong foundation with a nice openness of the heart. And now release. And again, you can just kind of shake out the fingers if that feels like it's a little bit too much for you. One more time, press the fingertips firmly down to lift the chest, to take the heads of the arm bones back and open the throat nicely. And release. Now lie down on your back with your knees bent. Just pause here for a moment. Place your elbows very firmly down with your palms facing each other. And just as we did earlier, take the fingers toward each other in that duck bill, duck head sort of position. Reach the fingers toward each other and now make a fist with the fingers. Do that again. So reach your fingers toward each other and make a fist. One more time. As you're pressing your elbows firmly down, reach the fingers toward each other. Make a fist, just like we were doing earlier. Keep the fist and lift your pelvis up. So once your pelvis is lifted, just get this nice opening to the upper chest, just like we were working on in Dandasana. Now, once again, spread your fingers. Draw your fingers toward each other and make that sort of duck bill, this flat hand. Make a fist again. We'll do that 2 more times. Reach your fingers up, then toward each other. Make a fist again. Press your elbows down to lift yourself higher. One more time. Spread your fingers. Draw them toward each other with the fingers drawing in toward one another. Then make a fist. Lift your chest and slowly release yourself down to the mat. Release your arms. And as you release your hands and straighten your legs, just kind of move your feet like they're windshield wipers and move your hands again, just side to side, just like they're windshield wipers. You can just kind of settle yourself down. And once that movement is complete, close your eyes. Let your hands just rest comfortably with your palms facing up. Your ankles are relaxed. We worked on the hands in this practice. As you allow your hands to just rest on the floor, maybe you have this feeling that the arms, after all those variations in moving the hands and the fingers, you might have some residual sensations, maybe more aliveness in the arms. So as you breathe in and out through the nose, keep your arms in this very still position. Allow both the arms and the legs to feel so heavy. And the breath so full. You bring your awareness to the breath. Just focus on a long exhale breath. Let that exhale breath just make you feel like you're just releasing completely. Allow your exhale breath to give you the feeling of complete surrender, a feeling of ease. Continue your focus to the breath. You can continue your Shavasana, or if it's time for you to move on to the activities of your day, feel free to come to a seated pose. Thank you for this practice of working with our hands and wrists and the strength of our arms to create a little bit more strength and flexibility while doing those yoga poses that we've become so familiar with. Namaste.